During that second attack, that's when I actually finally got a chance to sit down. All you can think of is, what was the last conversation that I had with my spouse or my kids? Was it good? Was it bad? And
what was yours?
It was good. You always want to make, especially overseas, you want to make that last conversation always good.
When was it?
It was the night before. So I knew I had spoken with them, and hey, that's it. Get them out your head. It's time for to back on the job.
Roan had just come back up, and we'd been sitting up there talking because we both had young kids.
Roan had extended, but he was looking forward to going.
Yeah, he was looking.
That was his last trip.
He wanted to see getting to see his baby.
I had twins.
He had twins.
Yeah. What's he telling you?
Every day and 2 or 3 times a day we would Skype and send photos and videos of the twins. Whenever I was expecting a phone call and didn't get one, that's when you start to worry a little bit.
All right, you guys good? We always emailed or talked on the phone, and he would always call around 3, 4 p.m. our time, always. And if he didn't, I knew ahead of time why he wasn't going to be able to call.
We'd talk every day, whenever time would allow, and most often the same time every day. If he didn't call me, you know, at the time he was supposed to call me, then, you know, I would begin to worry.
That's one of the reasons I'm fighting. That's one of the reasons I'm doing what I do. Not only for the people here, for the family back home, but primarily you're thinking about the team.
And that's your
family. And their family.
And their family, because their family, I mean, we're all family now. We're all brothers, and that's the way it is. And I mean, so you're thinking of this family here as much as that family there.
Most of the people are staged here in C.
I ended up on top of the command center in Building C, had with Roan at this point.
More cars come by. What happens then?
We don't know what they're doing. We don't know if they were guys that lost or they were still trying to probe us.
And there's a guy with a cell phone.
Yeah. And he just walked up, cell phone, and walked back. Maybe he was getting GPS coordinates with his phone. Again, it's just another thing in Benghazi. It's eerie. I want to shoot him, but is he just some guy taking a walk? Weird things are still happening that night. We're trying to think that, all right, morale's up, we're out of this, we're good, we fought him off again. I was expecting, more cars. It was actually, the first convoy was quite small, but I was just, honestly, I was just happy to see him. 3 of the guys I'd worked with before, so I recognized them off the bat. And
including Glenn,
including
Doherty.
Yeah.
Navy
Navy SEAL,
connection with Roan, with Jack, and you had worked with.
In fact, Bub and I had just done a trip in Tripoli before Benghazi. I just knew Bub from contracting.
Okay, so they come in, they go to Building C.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are still kind of waiting for what's happening.
The aircraft that they had wasn't big enough to take us all back. So they were going to take the non-shooting personnel and get them out.
To the airport.
Yes.
To the airport. We were going to stay there and hold the Alamo. And
literally.
Yeah, literally.
And I think they'd probably been there about an hour. Me and Roan were talking about that, wondering, what's taking so long? Why aren't we getting out of here? The sun was starting to come up, but it was, we better be ready for another attack because this is when it's going to come. It was about that time that Glenn come up on the roof.
Climbed up the ladder?
And come over and was talking to Roan, and Roan had introduced me to Bub because I had never worked with him before. He says, yeah, Bub's a sniper. And I'm like, well, hopefully we ain't going to need you, but I'm glad to have another shooter up here. Bub turned and was walking back towards the front of the building, and almost immediately a mortar come in and landed on top of the wall right there.
What I heard and I didn't even know I heard it basically sounded like when a rocket goes off and this.
Small arms fire started coming from this direction. Roan had a machine gun, and he stood in probably like a 3/4 crouch position and just started laying down hate.
Laying hate
Down through this avenue of approach from here. I started to engage with him. I ran out of ammo, knelt down, changed magazines, and right as I'm coming up, and I start to re-engage, another mortar hits almost to the center of the building here. And that one, it knocked me back and that's what hit Roan. Roan was standing to my left. I got knocked back, and as I stood back up, I saw him out of the corner of my eye, and he was in a fetal position in the corner right here. I stand up and try to re-engage with my rifle, and I bring my hand up, and from here down is hanging off at a 90-degree angle.
Your hand is just hanging, flop.
Yeah. I just keep trying to bring it up, and it won't stay. I can't make it work. And that's when the second round hit. That's when I saw Bub go down about right here. I wasn't sure if he was hit or if he was just taking cover. And then I turned back and again tried to engage and get my hand to come up, and a third round hits in the same vicinity. And at that point, I mean, I just felt like I got hit by stung by 1,000 bees just up and down my side. And I figure I better get to some cover now in case another one comes. And the whole night went quiet after that.
That's tough to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little.
I bet.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's what has to be done. I mean, you're in a fight, you got to stay in the fight. That's the only thing I could think of is Roan's down. Somebody needs to continue firing.
And you see this mortar attack happen. What are you doing?
I'm still, I'm over here on Tower 3, still, you know, covering this area. To me, it looked like it hit like right around here. We had no cover for mortar attacks. I mean, even in the buildings, I'm surprised that one didn't collapse. Another explosion hits right here. When I heard another thump, that's when I jumped off the tower, moved back, and got somewhere right around here, and that's when the mortar hit. And once that mortar hit, it was pitch black and dead quiet. Jack came over and said, "Hey man, there's no movement," and that's when I sprinted to the ladder, and then I just kind of skiddied on up as fast as I could, jumped over the parapet, and that's when I saw Dave Ubin off to my left. Looked like somebody in the center, and then a couple other people maybe over here, but it was a lot. The smoke was still up there from just the debris kind of settling down, and so I moved over to Dave. I find a tourniquet because Dave's leg was pretty much completely severed off. I think it was just barely hanging on by a thread, and same with his arm.
Some ligaments, yeah.
So got the tourniquets on him, called back on the radio, say, "Hey, I need help up here. You know, I need help." I heard noise, so I moved over to where the noise was, and
I was trying to get a tourniquet out and put on myself, and then I saw him.
Meanwhile, your hand is still flopped down.
Yeah. So I pulled out the tourniquet, and I was just trying to fix my arm. I just kept grabbing it, trying to put it back in place. And
he's just sitting there kind of going, "Hey, check this out," and his arm is, you know, it's just, I'm like, "Dude, you need to stop. You're going to make it worse."
Stop playing with it.
So I
was bored.
he had his tourniquet there, reached down, grabbed his tourniquet, threw it on him real quick, stood him up.
He asked me if I could get down or get over to the ladder, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to, because I knew there was others that were down.
Meanwhile, you're pretty banged up.
Yeah, just a little bit. I got hit in the chest, up and down my side, got hit in the throat, and I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll have to. And so I hooked my top arm around the top rung of the ladder and just climbed over and was concentrating on just thinking, you know, if I fall now, I'm going to break my neck and die, and that's the last thing I want to do. So I'm just concentrating on getting my feet on that rung, and sure enough, I slipped, and luckily I had my arm, and I caught myself and pulled myself back up, got down, and then was able to inch my way down the ladder.
After I got Oz up and moving, I went straight back to Roan. He was still in the fetal position. I rolled him over. There was no response. I ripped off his body armor and tried to, you know, got that off. Took a pulse, couldn't feel nothing. Got the flashlight shining in his eyes. No pupil movements, no dilation. Put my ear to his chest and tried to see if his chest was going up and down, if I could hear a heartbeat. There was nothing. So I left him, went over to the other guy. So I did pretty much the same exact thing. Checked him, ripped off his body armor, and there was nothing.
Yeah.
When you realize they're dead, what do you do?
Well, and I just kind of said a prayer over both of them.
And the quote is, God watch over him, guide him to where he needs to be, take care of his family.
Mm-hmm. So after that, you know, I kind of, the D boys the whole time, they just want to get everybody off the roof. And when I was doing the prayer, I just ignored them, you know. It was like, gathered up everybody's weapons that was left.
You got to get the bodies off the roof. It's tough.
Mm.
The D boys picked the bodies up and dumped them over the side of the roof. Maybe that's not the right description, but they got them off the roof the most expedient manner, and by doing that, it was just throwing them over the edge of the roof to get them down. I just leave that to each person's decision on, you know, whether right, wrong, indifferent, but I know that it's not something you want to see.